Hello. We are currently discussing the first battle of the World War II. I believe a lot of people know the first bullet of World War II, but a lot of people do not know the first battle of World War II. So, uh, with no further ado, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of give us just a brief summary of Westerplatte before we go more in depth.
Okay, my name is Michael. I am Polish student from University in Gdansk, and I am working with Dante here to make a, I guess, presentation about the Battle of Westerplatte in year 1939, which is a marker of sorts in beginning of World War II in September 1. This is on my part. Do you have any questions? What will we go first? I think the
Uh, I actually have a lot of questions as we go along. First, a little bit of insight into what I went through on my end. Uh, Westerplatte is not a battle that is talked about greatly in the World Wars. Uh, we speak mainly about our involvement with helping uh, Britain be supplied tanks and ships and things of that nature. And we're mostly taught in our schools more about the atomic bomb and the Manhattan Project and Little Boy and Enola Gay. So, in starting to get a little bit of research concerning this, I had picked up this book by Melchior Wankowicz. He is considered a great historian within Polish culture and history in general. Uh, Unfortunately for me, this was only written in Polish. So I had to gather someone who was fluent in the language, and I got a little bit of a better understanding, but there were still certain things that were left out. And maybe in this presentation, you can help everyone kind of fill in the blanks a little bit. So,
sure, man. I will try. I will try. Yeah.
all right. So, what I have here is obviously this is the Battle of Westerplatte. And what a lot of people know of this is basically the start of World War II, but not much else, to be completely honest. Asking people in America, it was pretty, uh, it was actually kind of sad that most people did not know about this. Um,
Yeah,
Mainly,
I guess you
oh,
should.
go ahead.
I could tell you about this, like in Gdańsk, pre World War II. In August, the city was mostly German. Yeah, the population was mostly German, and in Gdańsk there were too much heat of sorts, where the Polish government wanted to have the um, port access and railroads, and the Germans were making some difficulties and asking Berlin and Hitler to come here and make Gdańsk the, I think you should say, German city. So there was the conflict before the actual battle in 1st of September, like in 25 of August 1939. So there is the, I should say, beginning of sorts. Yeah. Do you want me to go on, or do you have some questions, or I don't know, some more aspect to it? I could go on about the battle itself right now if you want.
Um, Actually, I have up on the screen uh, the a little bit about the Polish influence in Gdansk and how Polish powers were in the Free City. Uh,
Yeah, in this photo you can see that Polish government have little access to the city itself. Like Poland had only control over the railroads. Poland had its own post office in Gdańsk, one post office. Poles participate in management of the port in Gdańsk. Only participate Poland had the right to an ammunition deposit on the Westerplatte Peninsula, where a Polish army could be sanctioned. So we could do stuff, some, but the I should say city government was pro-German, was German, so there were difficulties to making peace dealings and stuff. So I could tell you on side note where when the World War II started, so the Schleswig-Holstein battleship started firing in 1st September, and the one only post office where the Polish had access to were defending itself from German soldiers and was captured later on. So we lost every single aspect of Polish, um, I should say, govern places when the Germans attacked us. So that is in a nutshell, yeah.
uh, One of the things that I learned about in studying a little bit more about it is the sheer amount of soldiers that were used on both sides. Uh, According to the PowerPoint, it's showing a 20-1. There were 20 Germans for every one uh, Polish soldier,
It is
and
correct. Yeah, it is correct.
just the sheer artillery is also something of a disparity that is uh, very great within. And I was just I was floored for the most part to know how fortified the battlefield was, considering that it wasn't to be made a battlefield in the first place. Uh, it it shows a lot of resiliency within the Polish army, and uh, I was I was impressed. I have a brother who served in the military, and I kind of shared this with him, and he was just kind of like, "Wow."
Thanks, man.
Uh,
I appreciate it. Yeah, we had like 200 soldiers in between the war and attack from the German side, and I just read it in the book to make sure I am accurate according to the gentleman who wrote this. And German had 4,000 soldiers, like you see on the screen, 65 cannons of different kind, 100 machine guns, some light mortars and flamethrowers, one battleship, the Schleswig-Holstein, which opened fire first, and two torpedo boats, which joined the battle later on, like 3 days after. Uh, the the battle itself, and 60 aircraft. So we had immense disparity between the Polish side and German side, and we had like some hope. Hope was not only maybe aspect of this battle, but our officers had hope that from Hell Peninsula or port of Gdynia will come help um, to blockade the Germans and I should say help us draw back the German side. But as you can see, the battle itself should last only 12 hours, according to the officer, which was captain in this battle. And I should say the Warsaw radio always make the deal that Westerplatte is defending itself all the time, so the morals were high in the different places where the fight was on. So that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna kind of switch a little bit of gear for a moment because you brought up something very interesting. You brought up the situation about the 12 hours. Um, in doing some research, I saw two movies. One that you recommended that was an older, more historical telling of Westerplatte. And then I saw
Yeah.
another.
Wait, I will tell the movie itself. This Westerplatte from Stanisław Różewicz. This was a film from 1967, and
Yes,
I sent it to you. Yeah.
yes. Um, one of the things I kept seeing was about the 12 hours and how they knew that it was going to be 12 hours, but it
Sorry.
was almost as if, oh, that's okay. It was
I,
almost as if, it was almost as if they knew they were going to lose and they had a way to not tell the soldiers about their impending loss. And I was wondering, uh, why was it only for 12 hours?
Yeah, it is a good question because as you can see, we had only 200 soldiers, and like in all battles, the machinery need the ammunition. Yeah, so we were like you have seen in the movie, we were saving the ammunition as much as we could. We were fighting in the daytime, and the evening we were resting, so we could make the machinery cool off and save the ammunition itself. And we didn't have so much war machine like Germans have. They had two boats, torpedo, and aircraft, and they were having so much more firepower than us. So we could only defend itself as long as we could to tie up the Schleswig-Holstein battlecraft and the Germans soldiers that our brothers in different battles in Poland could have some briefing time. Yeah.
I understand. Uh, there was 7 days of hard fought battle. And on September 7th, they finally raised the white flag. and out of the 201-man company, only 15 soldiers perished, whereas over 200 German soldiers perished. And there was talk that the general was so impressed, he actually let the major keep his ceremonial saber. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true, but I should say that ceremonial saber was later on um, taken from him because he was, like I told you before, every single soldier, Polish soldier, which was alive at the time, was later on paraded on the Długa Street in Gdańsk for the German population to spot on, and later on, every single one of them was, I should say, transported to the camps, the how it is called, the war camps, yeah. So
Yes.
it is. I should say the keeping of ceremonial saber in the beginning was only the looks of the good side of German soldiers. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I also was able to get information from you about 5 days later. The uh, wireless operator, uh, he was killed by the Germans, and uh, the reason he was killed was because of the refusal of handing over the radio codes. Uh, I know that has to be something where people always talk a certain talk about how, if you're in that situation, I wouldn't dare, give away these codes, or I wouldn't dare do that. But this was a guy who actually was in that situation and uh, died for his fellow men. And these are the little stories that I was learning in this particular battle and in this class in general that made you understand the ultimate sacrifice in war.
Yeah, I understand this point, but here is the thing. Yeah, all major happenings in the World War II, like the Battle of Westerplatte, is now politicized. Yeah, they are making our soldiers sacrifice pointless in the mainstream media and stuff, and don't look on the history books or try to make this sacrifice less important or less true. Do you understand what I mean?
I do. And you know, I guess since I have you here, I would feel regret if I don't ask you this question. So all this semester, I've learned about basically the the life uh, of Poland and how it has went through uh, losing itself as a country, regaining it in the early 1900s, two world wars, and everything that it has went through. Uh, but the one of the shining things I've seen is just how your military is at a high ranking level, almost like second to none. For instance, I've heard stories from the Battle of Britain and how you have folks that found a way to get to England by way of Romania and were able to fight Nazi pilots and take down only over 100 of them to losing only 8. It seems like every battle where Poland is involved, they really kick butt. And I think that's something that seems to be kind of lost in all of this. And it wasn't lost on me.
Yeah, I get you, man. I am really proud about my history of country and my military itself because we in history of Poland we disappeared for 120 years, and where we regained the independence and we showed our country again on the history maps. Then the First World War began, the Second World War began, and we were just fighting for our lives, for our country. And when our country was taken over by the Nazis and the Soviets, then we just were fighting for freedom for other countries, but we were fighting for others, but dying only to our Poland, to our country. Yeah, this was that mindset of sort, and I am really proud of it. So yeah, you are right.
Now, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about uh, what I'm looking at right now. This is the memorial, I believe, of Westerplatte. And if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, please tell me.
Yeah, this is the memorial of Battle of Westerplatte, where this is a marker of sorts, where people can gather together, make photos, talk about the history of this event, light some lamps and put some flowers on, just to make the memory fresh. Year in, year out. Yeah. So yeah, you are right about that.
Okay. Um, I want to ask about a couple of rumors that I saw in the battle and how it was portrayed. And I want to make sure that these are or are not rumors. Um, in the Westerplatte movie that I saw that was more current, there is a scene where rank and file were arguing, and there was a phone call that was given. And if you have no information, I completely understand. Uh, that a few of the soldiers wanted to give up between days 3 and 4, and they were executed because of their wanting to desert or just give up ahead of the time of the 7 days. Is there any information to corroborate that?
Um, I I can't I can't tell you if it is accurate information because there is so much controversy about it. Like the officer Sucharski was, like you saw in the movie, he wanted to give up. He wanted to show the white flag in like three days, 4 days in the battle itself. Yeah, and the film itself didn't show the killing of the officers which wanted to give up and run away. But in the film itself, you saw the people who were breaking down. They wanted to run away, but the higher in command military just shooted at them and they were fighting again. It is hard to explain because humans mindset where they are fighting for their lives or their country, families are maybe different. They want to survive too because they see no one wants to help us. Where is the military from Gdynia port or Peninsula from hell? They didn't see the point in fighting much longer. Yeah, and I can't really tell if the killing of the Polish soldiers which wanted to give up and run away from the battlefield was accurate. So there are differences. Yeah, I could
Yes,
I need to end on that because I can't really speak on that.
sure, not a problem. Um, how do you look at the overall importance of that battle? Um, Mainly because, as we were talking earlier, it's not a battle that people speak of. At least here on the Western Front, it's almost as if the war officially started with the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand. And we know that was the bullet that started it all. But once again, no one really knew the tipping point of when the war, or at least World War II, started.
When the assassination of Ferdinand was happening, there wasn't the fighting between militaries itself. Yeah, there was escalation of situation on the political front, and the battle itself started when the Germans attacked us on the Westerplatte and different cities in the same time. So the Battle of Westerplatte was the marker, yes, but the fighting was on the all fronts, yeah, in the same time. But this is the battle which is the most prominent, I should say, in 1st September 1959 where the Germans started attacking first. Yes, we were just defending ourselves, defending our home. And the importance of this battle is that I told you before the radio in Warsaw was all the time speaking the information about Westerplatte is defending itself again and again, and the soldiers on different fronts had high morale and wanted to fight on to defend it. This was the importance of this battle of Westerplatte. Um, uh, yeah, and I wanted to save it on that. Yeah.
Okay. Um, for the most part, I guess let me rephrase that. In the United States, we don't seem to make such a big deal about the other battles within World War II. So I would like to get your perspective of exactly what does this battle in Poland means to people of Poland today.
Sure. I should say that the memory of the battle and its victims is still there. It is still present to this time. This battle has become a symbol of sorts of difficult tasks and responsibilities. I could tell about our Pope John Paul II spoke about it with words addressed to young people in 1987. Each of you, young friends and local in your life, Westerplatte. It has a difficulty and symbolic dimensions. Yeah, for many ordinary people, this is one version of the battles in history. There are numerous literary and scientific publications about this, and you can search in the internet engine, and different articles will pop up. Yeah? So the battle for of Westerplatte for us Polish citizens is like the memory, the heart of Polish people, the hardship, the hope. The hope is there all the time. So I think it is important to say to yourself, I am living my life like every day is my own Westerplatte. Yeah, it is like that.
Thank you very much. That is very well said. I would like to just thank you for taking the time out and speaking to me and helping me understand why this particular battle is so important to not only you but to all of the Polish people. It was an honor speaking to you, and just thank you.
No problem, man. I just I am making this conversation with you like new friendship of sorts from Polish American side. I really adore your American military, and I am always looking for news articles about stuff from your side, and I really like Americans history too, and I am really appreciate that you wanted to speak with me on this subject in our Polish history of Westerplatte. So thank you, man.
All right. I guess it's time to end this and enjoy the rest of your day. And once again, just great talking to you, man.
Thank you very much, and happy Easter holiday.
Thank you. Happy Easter.
So this is the end, I assume, yeah.
Yep.
Do you want to end the recording so we can wrap this up?
Yes.